So here's the thing. I'm sitting in my dorm room right now, and I'm staring at a half-finished embroidery hoop. Yeah, embroidery. 3 weeks ago, I was convinced this was it. This was going to be my thing. I spent like $200 on supplies. My roommate literally cannot open his closet door all the way because there's a box of embroidery floss taking up half the floor space. My name is Declan. I'm 20 years old, a sophomore at a university that's basically 15 minutes from the house I grew up in. And honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. If there was such a thing as insider trading for mental skills, you just found the spot. Mental skills are the cheat code to life that no one's talking about. This season, fall forward with me as we dive into stories, tools, and techniques to help you navigate the awkward, challenging, and sometimes frustrating facets of life. The cost of ignoring these skills isn't just struggling. It's watching your future self slip away, while others who improve their mental skills soar past you. I want to quickly thank our sponsors of this podcast, the UPS store off 12th and Patterson and Fire FC Soccer Club, for consistently investing in our future by helping be a solution for our future. Lastly, I want to remind you that the hard things you may be going through right now are not your final destination. Everything you're going through will soon turn into everything you went through. Don't forget, without rain, nothing grows, and all broken colors still color. Now, on to the cast. Last month, it was embroidery. The month before that, it was learning Italian on Duolingo. I made it to a 47-day streak before I just stopped. Before that, I bought a used guitar off Facebook Marketplace. It's under my bed now, though. Still has the price tag on it. Before that, I was really into film photography. I developed like 6 rolls of film and then never touched my camera again. Before that, you get the picture. My mom has this thing she does now where whenever I mention something new I'm interested in, she just kind of sighs. Not in a mean way, but in this tired way that makes me feel like I'm exhausting her just by existing. Last week I mentioned I was thinking about getting into pottery, and she just looked at my dad across the dinner table and said, "Here we go again." My dad's more direct about it. He keeps asking me what my major is going to be. I'm still undecided, by the way. He'll say things like, "Declan, you can't just bounce around forever. At some point, you have to commit to something." And I know he means well, I do. But every time he says it, I feel this weight in my chest like I'm disappointing everyone, just by not having it all figured out yet. Then there's my older sister, Rachel. She's 30, married to this guy named Tom, who's genuinely nice, and they have 2 kids, Mia and Jack. They just bought a new house, and she's got this job in marketing that she seems to actually enjoy, and from the outside, it looks like she always knew what she was supposed to do, and she just did it. No questions, no doubts, no half-finished embroidery hoops cluttering up in her life. I asked her about it once, actually. We were at my parents' house for Sunday dinner, which is this thing we still do because, again, I just live 15 minutes away, and I pulled her aside while she was doing dishes, and I was like, "How did you know? How did you know marketing was your thing?" And she looked at me with this expression that was kind of sad and kind of amused. And she said, "I didn't know, Deck. I just picked something and stuck with it long enough to get good at it. That's the secret. There is no knowing. There's just doing." I think about that conversation a lot. My younger sister, Zoe, she's 17, senior in high school. And the thing about Zoe is that she looks up to me, which is honestly terrifying because what am I even doing that's worth looking up to? She texts me all the time asking for advice about stuff. Should she join the school newspaper? Should she take AP Physics? Does she really need to go to college? Or could she just move to LA and try to make it as an influencer? And I'm sitting here like, "Zoe, I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm the person who bought a ukulele in September and played it exactly twice. But I can't tell her that. So I try to give her advice anyway, and I wonder if I'm just leading her down the same path of confusion I'm on." Here's what I think the problem is. I'm interested in everything. That's not me trying to sound smart or unique or whatever. It's just true. I see someone making bread on TikTok and I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I should do that. I watch a video essay about urban planning and suddenly I'm researching city layouts at 2 a.m. My friend shows me his mechanical keyboard and I fall down a rabbit hole of keycaps and switch types. And the next thing I know, I've spent 3 hours on Reddit. Everything seems interesting when you're on the outside looking in. It's the staying part that's hard. I was talking to my roommate about this the other day. His name's Sam, and he's one of those people who's just really good at one thing. He's a computer science major, been coding since he was like 12, and he's already done 2 internships. And I was like, dude, doesn't it get boring just doing the same thing all the time? And he looked at me like I'd asked him if breathing gets boring. He said, it's not the same thing all the time though. The deeper you go, the more interesting it gets. Like, I thought I knew what programming was about when I started, but I didn't know anything. Every level you reach, there's a whole new level after it. So it's not boring, it's the opposite. It's like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, and that's what keeps it interesting. I nodded like I understood, but I don't think I did. Because for me, it's the not knowing that's interesting. It's the beginning part, the discovery phase, the excitement of something new. Once I start to understand something, once it starts to feel familiar, that's when I lose interest. There's this quote I saw on Instagram a few months ago. It was one of those aesthetic posts with fancy typography over a picture of mountains or whatever. It said something like, "The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried." And I remember seeing it and feeling both inspired and kind of attacked at the same time. Because yeah, okay, I get it. Mastery requires failure, requires sticking with something even when it's hard. But also, I have tried a lot of things. I've tried so many things. Doesn't that count for something? Last Tuesday, I went home for dinner. My parents' place. Zoe was there, Rachel and her family were there. We were all sitting around the table and my mom made some steak and potatoes, which is like this whole production. And my dad was asking Rachel about some project she's working on, and then Rachel was talking about conversion rates and engagement metrics, and her kids were arguing about something, and Zoe was showing my mom something on her phone, and I was just sitting there, quiet, pushing some potatoes around my plate. And then my dad turned to me and said, "What about you, Deck? What are you up to these days?" And I could feel everyone's attention shift to me. Zoe looked excited, like whatever I was going to say was going to be cool and inspiring. Rachel had this knowing look on her face, like she already knew what was coming, and my mom looked hopeful, but cautious. I said, "I'm learning embroidery." There was this pause. Then my dad said, "Embroidery? Like with needles?" "Yeah," I said. "It's actually pretty meditative, and the patterns can get really complex. There's this whole math element to it that's kind of fascinating." My mom smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's nice, honey." Rachel said, "Didn't you buy a guitar last month?" "That was 2 months ago," I corrected her, which somehow made it worse. Then Zoe jumped in, like she always does when she senses I'm uncomfortable. "I think embroidery is cool. Very cottagecore aesthetic, very on trend. And I love her for that, I really do." But even as she said it, I could feel the embroidery hoop calling to me from my dorm room. Unfinished, probably never going to be finished. The thing is, I know what everyone's thinking. They're thinking I need to just pick something and stick with it. They're thinking I'm wasting my time, wasting money, wasting potential. And maybe they're right. But here's what I'm thinking. What if curiosity is its own kind of value? What if the exploring part matters just as much as the mastering part? Because yeah, I haven't mastered embroidery, but I did learn how to do a satin stitch and a French knot. I learned about the thread count and fabric tension. I learned that people have been doing this craft for thousands of years across every culture, and that there's this whole community of people who are keeping it alive. And yeah, I gave up on Italian, but I did learn that Italian has this whole informal second-person plural form that doesn't even exist in English, and that languages shape how we think about relationships and groups. I learned 20 different ways to say bread in Italian. That's not nothing. The guitar might be under my bed, but I learned 3 chords. I can play a very rough version of Wonderwall, which I know is like the most cliche thing ever, but still, I couldn't do that before. I guess what I'm struggling with is this. Everyone keeps telling me that mastery is the goal, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I see the value in what Sam has, in what Rachel has. I see how knowing something deeply, being truly good at something, gives you this confidence and purpose that I don't have. But I also wonder, is there room in the world for people like me? People who are more interested in the questions than the answers? People who get excited by the beginning of things? Or do we all have to eventually just choose? I think about what my sister said to me. There is no knowing, there's just doing. And I think about what Sam said about depth, how the deeper you go, the more interesting it becomes. And I think about what my dad said. At some point, you have to commit to something. And I wonder if they're all just saying the same thing in different ways. Then there's this other thing that happened to me last week. I was in the library procrastinating on a paper I was supposed to be writing for my English class, another class where I'm not really sure what I'm doing, by the way. And I ended up in this section I don't usually go to. I pulled out this random book about Renaissance polymaths. People like Leonardo da Vinci, who was a painter and an inventor and a scientist and an architect, and like a dozen other things. And I thought, okay, so some people did manage to be interested in everything and also achieve mastery. It's possible. But then I kept reading and learned that even Leonardo left tons of projects unfinished. He had notebooks full of ideas he never executed, paintings he never started and abandoned, inventions that never got built. And I don't know if that made me feel better or worse. Here's what I think I'm starting to understand. Maybe the question isn't whether I should hop between hobbies or commit to one thing. Maybe the question is what I'm actually looking for when I pick up something new. Am I looking for the thing, the one thing that's going to make me feel complete and purposeful and like I finally know who I am? Or am I just looking, learning, exploring, trying to understand the world by touching as many different parts of it as I can. And if it's a second thing, if I'm genuinely curious, genuinely just interested in experiencing different things, does that need to change? Or is that okay? I don't have an answer to that. I wish I did. It would make dinner at my parents' house a lot easier. But what I do know is that I'm tired of feeling guilty every time I lose interest in something. I'm tired of seeing my mom's disappointed face. I'm tired of feeling like I'm failing some test that everyone else has passed. But I'm also starting to think that maybe there isn't one right way to do this. This whole being a person thing, I mean. Maybe some people like Sam, they find their thing early and they dive deep, and that's beautiful. Maybe some people are like Rachel. They make a choice and stick with it long enough to build a whole life around it, and that's beautiful too. And maybe some people are like me, still figuring it out, still asking questions, still trying things. Maybe that's also beautiful. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just what it is. Yesterday, Zoe texted me. She said, "I think I want to try pottery. Is that dumb?" And I text back, "It's not dumb. Try it. See what happens." And she said, "Well, what if I'm not good at it?" And I thought about that for a while before I responded. I thought about all the things I've tried and given up on. I thought about my embroidery hoop and my guitar and my camera and my Italian lessons. I thought about what Rachel said and what Sam said and what my dad keeps saying. And then I text back, "What if being good at it isn't the point?" She sent back a string of mind-blown emojis. And maybe that's not the right answer. Maybe in 10 years, I'll look back on this and cringe at how naive I was. Maybe I'll finally have found my thing and committed to it, and I'll understand what everyone else was trying to tell me. Or maybe I'll still be trying new things, still learning just enough to be dangerous, still collecting experiences instead of expertise. I don't know. That's kind of the whole problem, isn't it? I don't know. What I do know is that right now, in this moment, I'm sitting in my dorm room looking at that embroidery hoop, and part of me wants to finish it, just to prove that I can finish something. And part of me wants to stuff it in the closet with Sam's stuff and never look at it again. And part of me just saw a video about bread making and is thinking about how cool it would be to understand fermentation and gluten development and the chemistry of baking. And all of those are parts of me. The part that wants to finish things, the part that wants to move on, the part that can't stop being curious about new things. So I guess the question I'm leaving you with, the question I'm leaving myself with, is this. What if the journey of trying to figure out who you are is actually who you are? What if the searching is the point, not the finding? Is that enough? Can that be enough? I'm 20 years old and I'm a sophomore at a university in my hometown. I have an embroidery hoop I probably won't finish. I have a guitar under my bed. I have a younger sister who looks up to me for reasons I don't even understand, and an older sister who has it all figured out in ways that I might never understand. And I still have no idea what I'm doing with my life. But maybe, just maybe, that's okay for now. Thanks for listening. I guess I'll see you next time. If there is a next time. Who knows? Maybe I'll be into podcasting for a while. Or maybe next month, I'll be trying something completely different. Building mental skills isn't just about handling stress or bouncing back. If you develop mental skills, it essentially means you're preparing yourself to build strong relationships, make sound decisions, and find genuine fulfillment in whatever you do, wherever you are. The most expensive thing you can buy is conventional wisdom. The most profitable thing you can sell is your own potential. Remember, you're always just one choice from a new beginning, and a single commitment away from a new life. The 2026 version of you is waiting. Hey, if you're sitting there right now, feeling like you can't commit to anything, like everyone else has it figured out except you, I need you to hear this. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're exploring. And maybe that's not a problem to fix. Maybe that's just who you are right now. Every guitar you picked up for a month, you learned something. Every hobby you abandoned, you discovered a piece of the world you didn't know before. That's not wasted time. That's you trying to understand what resonates with you. The people telling you to just pick something and stick with it, they're not wrong, but they're also not the only ones who are right. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Some people find their thing at 20, some at 30, some at 50, and some people, they're just permanently curious. They're collectors of experiences, not expertise. And the world needs those people too. So maybe stop asking yourself what you should commit to, and start asking yourself what you're actually searching for. Are you looking for the one perfect thing that will make you feel complete? Or are you just genuinely interested in learning how the world works, one experiment at a time? There's no timer on figuring this out. Your sister's house, your parents' expectations, your friend's 5-year plan, none of that is your measuring stick. You're 20-something and confused? Yeah, that's actually pretty normal. The difference is whether you're going to beat yourself up about it or whether you're going to stay curious and see where it leads. What if the searching is the point? What if becoming yourself is supposed to feel like this? Just something to think about.